Okay. So, welcome back. In this video, I hope you're sitting down. It's going to be a really long video. I'm going to talk about a lot of really bizarre events that have happened to me over the last couple of months and really explain myself in this video and why I decided to make a change in my life and why I'm moving forward with making these videos, trying to entertain, educate, and connect, and a little bit of what happened to the old John T. Where did he go, and why is he gone? Because he is gone. I'll never be the same again, especially for the people who used to know me. In my wild and rowdy days, I guess you could say, in college, people that know me from that time, they're going to wonder, what happened? And if you want the short answer, I guess you could say Jesus really got to me, and I want to serve him and speak for him. And I don't know if you could say I've been a holy roller now, but I'm living with a little bit of purpose now instead of just wandering aimlessly like a lost sheep, like I talked about before. And if you want the long answer, continue watching this video, sit down and buckle up, because I'm going to talk about some really bizarre, radical things that have happened to me from the top. To start off with, I guess I'll just start with, when did it start? When did I kind of when did I start to transform into a whole nother human being and a whole nother person? It happened about Thanksgiving last year. I went to Hawaii for Thanksgiving, and it was really an eye-opening experience. I got to see a lot of things, and I really it was a really fun trip. I got to see a lot of history, and especially about like Pearl Harbor and what happened during truly the last crisis that this country had since the one that we're seeing today. I got to see that firsthand on what happened and where it was at. And the USS Arizona was really an eye-opening experience for me, because it wasn't about, it's a tourist destination as much as it was a mass military grave for thousands of young boys, I'd call them men by today's standards, but they were kids. 18, 19-year-old kids, 5 years younger, 6 years younger than me today. That really opened my mind, opened my eyes, and to just seeing that boat in person at the bottom of Pearl Harbor Bay, or Oahu Bay, and seeing the sacrifice that those boys made 9 minutes after that bomb hit the deck of that boat. They had 9 minutes left to survive. And I just think to myself and be like, I feel that same sense of urgency today, seems like. We're 9 minutes away from certain death. And crisis is here. The flames have engulfed the boat, and it seems like it's sinking. I don't feel like that's pessimistic. I feel like that's realistic, and I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I still think there's hope. I still think there's hope, and that there is potential for a change drastically for the positive. Which brings me to my next event in the timeline. I got back home. I was trucking, working for Dad. We were hauling hay at the time to a fellow Greek that owns a sale barn. He needed some hay for livestock because he runs a sale every week for cows and sheep, what may have you. And during my time on the road, I'm alone all the time. I'm by myself in the truck, and I listen to a lot of podcasts. And I was listening to my favorite podcast that day, and my favorite podcast is Tucker Carlson. I really like Sean Ryan as well. I used to listen to Candace Owens, but she kind of lost me after just how negative she was and judgmental I felt like she was. But Sean and Tucker are my two favorites today. Still are, and I think they always will be. I hope, I pray. But besides the point, it's nothing but negativity, even in my favorite podcasts. And like everywhere you look online, it's just negative, and just nothing seems to be going right. It's like the world is ending and there's nothing we can do about it. And it just got to me, and I just got really, really upset and really frustrated with myself. And I kind of, more or less, if you will, I started getting really, really upset going down the highway. I'm weighing 80,000 pounds, traveling 65, 70 miles an hour down the road, and I'm getting really upset. And this isn't the first time it's happened, but this time it came to a head. And I started getting really, really upset with God. And it got to the point where I was fed up. Not so much of what's going on, but like I'm not even trying to do anything. I'm just sitting here letting it happen. And I started getting really upset with God going down the highway. And I was yelling at the top of my lungs. I was really upset. And I don't feel like I'm that way now. I feel much better. It's taken a few months to get over that and to really reflect and reposition. And I'm going to go through the last couple of months with you in this video. But I was screaming at the top of my lungs going down the highway at God. I was getting really upset with him. I was like, God, use me. God, send me. What's wrong with me? Why am I not doing anything? Why am I just sitting here working for the man, trucking along? I'm minding my own business. I'm not doing anything. I'm just existing. And I started to think to myself, I'm like, how? How could I make a difference? How could he use me? And I started getting these thoughts about like, what could I do? Like, how can I help? I'm not doing a thing right now. Needless to say, I started thinking, and like, I don't know if I would say these were my personal thoughts or thoughts that God was planting in my mind, but it got so overwhelming, and it just, oh my God, he can use me. Oh my God, there's no way it can be me. There's no way I'm the guy. I cannot be the guy that he needs right now. And it just started like consuming me and overwhelming me. And I pretty much had a panic attack on the highway, on the interstate, I-70, headed for Grand Junction. I'll never forget it to this day. It was like a snapping point, and it's just like, oh, you can't be real right now. Like the fear of God was put into me at that instant, and I was just like, I had a panic attack. I was screaming at the top of my lungs, God have mercy, Lord have mercy. There's no way. I cannot be the guy. I can't be him. It can't be me. I had to pull over. I won't ever forget this. I had to pull over. I stopped, parked on the side of the road on exit 42, right there at Palisade. And I had to get out of the truck, and I laid down onto the ground in front of my truck, and I put my hands into the dirt to kind of ground myself and just like be at the pure mercy of God. And just really like beg forgiveness, beg mercy, and calm myself down. And I spent about half an hour parked there on the side of the road. I walked up the exit ramp, and I laid in the middle of the road. I laid off to the side of the road. I was kneeling. I had probably 3 or 4 cars drive by, and there was only one of them that stopped to ask, "Are you okay?" And it was clear. You could clearly see I was in distress at that time. And like at that point in time, I knew something needed to be changed. Like something has to happen. Like nobody is willing to stop to even offer help. And the guy who did kind of stop and asked if I needed help, I told him, yes, I do need help. And he kept driving right along. Didn't even faze him. I'm not going to hold it against him. I do the same thing going down the road. Especially in a semi-truck, spending 90% of your time on the road. You see a lot of things where you're like, there's a flat tire, or someone's distressed, or like they might need help. They might need the tool that I'm carrying, and why am I not stopping to help that person? I think about that all the time going down the road. And sometimes when you do stop, you can be, if it's not in a good place especially, and in a semi-truck with as much traffic as there is today, you can create more of a hazard than what's already there. That's why a lot of times, and you can't stop 80,000 pounds on a dime. You just can't stop it right away. And so a lot of times I don't stop, and there's a lot of times I wish I did, or I wish I could. And I regret that. I do. Nothing I can do about it now. It's besides the point. I needed help in that moment, and I didn't get help from anybody. And I don't think they could have helped me in the end, because it was between me and God. Right, and at that point in time, right after that panic attack, I was just filled with rage and just hatred. And they were very unholy feelings. These are not feelings that you get from God, from Jesus. Jesus is all about love and peace and grace. And I was feeling everything but that. And I'm pretty sure at that instant, after that panic attack, I got possessed by a demon. Because I was just rage-filled, screaming at the top of my lungs for multiple days after that. And just like, I'm going to do something about this. I can do something about this. And it got to the point where I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I was having nightmares. All of these things. So that next Sunday, right after that happened, I was planning on doing confession. I was going to confess my sins anyways. It took me 26 years, 8 months, and 2 weeks to finally confess my sins to the Lord. Why it took that long, I have absolutely no idea. But I sat down with a priest and I went through my list. I didn't feel better immediately, But over time, I did feel better afterwards. I knew it was going to take time. It's not overnight. But I was still having in this unrest, in this constant turmoil inside. So that next Monday, the very next day, I stopped and, kind of talked with my priest for a little bit. And he could tell there was still something wrong, and I could tell there was still something wrong. I was unwell. I couldn't sleep. I was crying in my sleep. I was just unwell. I needed help. So we went to the church. And he did the exorcism prayer over me. And for a lot of people who are not Orthodox and who are not Christian or Catholic or religious, when you first try to convert into Christianity, Orthodoxy, I can't speak about the other religions. I know Orthodoxy. The first thing you do as a catechumen is you go over the exorcism prayer with the priest, and it's where you say, I renounce Satan. I renounce Satan. I turn my life to Jesus Christ. I turn my life to Jesus Christ. So we did that on that Monday. It was the Monday before Christmas. I remember it like it was yesterday. And I was kneeling at the altar. The priest put his cloak over the top of me to kind of shield me, protect me, and say the prayer, and he walked me through it. And I repeated after him, I renounce Satan. I renounce Satan. I turn my life to Jesus Christ. I turn my life to Jesus Christ. I don't know if it's exactly that way. I can't remember the words exactly, but it goes something very, very similar to that. At that very point, at that very moment, when I started saying, I turn my life to Jesus Christ. I turn my life to Jesus Christ. I felt my spine just unzip like a jacket from the back of my neck all the way down my back. And I just felt all of this tension just release out of my back like that. I felt it right away as I was kneeling, praying those prayers at the altar. I felt it, my spine, just completely unzip like a jacket. And I knew I was still going to struggle a little bit, but I was on the right track, and I was focusing on what is important and what is good, which is Jesus Christ. And so after that exorcism prayer, and after I had realized I had been possessed, I was still having the nightmares. I was still under a lot of stress and turmoil. I could tell I was still under attack by Satan himself. Or, if not Satan, demons that worked for the guy. Well, in the middle of the night, I was still getting these attacks. Every single night it was happening. I was under fire because, quite frankly, I know why. It's because Satan was losing his grip on me after all of those years of sinning and not drawing closer to Jesus. He was finally losing his grip on me and losing his control over me. The control that I gave him, that I voluntarily, out of my neglect or ignorance or what may have you, just missing the target from the years of sin. And it's not like it was a do-all, end-all, be-all, like the death of me sin. It was just little things here and there But nonetheless, sin itself is just, it's an archery term for missing the target. And I was missing the target my whole life. And at that moment in time, I had finally realigned and turned my life to Christ. I was under attack. And it continued. Continued for about a month. And I was still having nightmares. I was still in unrest. I was praying prayers and I was talking to God. And at that point in time, when I was in the exorcism, right after that, my priest gave me a prayer book, and he said, read the morning prayer, the very first thing you do when you get up. And read the evening prayer, the very last thing you do when you go to bed. Focus on those two prayers. And the prayer book, let me go grab it real quick. Time out. This is it, right here, Orthodox Prayers. It's a prayer book. And I would read these prayers in the morning and at night. And I had my good days and I had my bad days. And I felt like I started seeing signs from God in my life. I was looking around and I'm like seeing so differently, so clearly. And I was like, oh. It was overwhelming. It was like, and then more importantly, I was reflecting on my life and everything that had led up to that point in time and to this point in time today. And I was like, oh my God. I went through this heartbreak because I needed to deal with this. I needed to learn how to deal with this. And then I went through this because I needed to know how to do this. And, like, I went through, in one of my other videos, I talk about being a state officer for FFA in Colorado. And I was like, oh my God. I went through that year because I needed to learn how to speak effectively and communicate clearly to maybe start these videos, start spreading the word of Christ. And it just all started to come together and it all started to make sense. And then one night about mid-January, I was having this very, very, very vivid nightmare in the middle of my sleep. And it was so real, and it was just so miserable. And I was just under constant turmoil. I was sweating through the sheets, even though it was the wintertime and it's cold. And it felt so real. In this nightmare, I'll never forget it. I was screaming at the top of my lungs at somebody for what they've done wrong and why they're a failure and why that everything that's happening is their fault. It's because of the decisions that they've made. And I was just like really hammering into this person in my dream. And these were all true things I was telling this person, but nonetheless, I was just raging, ranting, and it's a Greek thing. Greeks were, it's like a curse, because we have this nevra. It's a southern Mediterranean rage that, like, you want to go get the ball, or like, you go attack, like, I don't know if it's a mainland Greek thing or a Cretan thing, but nonetheless, it was like, I've got it built into me, and I hate it sometimes because it gets the best of me, and my temper, it goes off. I'm really, really, really trying hard. I'm like, keep it calm, John. Keep it calm. Keep it collected. But anyways, in this nightmare, I was really hammering into this guy. Really getting after it. I don't know if I'd say I was making myself feel better, but it was plain to see that, like, I didn't love him and he didn't love me, and in this dream it was like, it was miserable. Because I didn't want to feel that way, but at the same time, it's kind of what I had been feeling lately. It's the exact same way this country feels about Congress. That's a topic for another time. Right after that nightmare, in the middle of my sleep, I was laying, I'll never forget it, I was laying on my right side. I was in the fetal position. Right after that dream, I felt the sheets grow tighter around me. I felt the mattress kind of curl up around me, all around me. I felt this nice, calm, warm feeling come over me. Peaceful, warm, soft, loving feeling. Comfort me in this time of just turmoil, distress, anxiety. It felt like I was being held, like I was being hugged in the middle of my sleep. And this was not a dream. This was a real feeling. I felt it all the way around me. And then as I felt like I was being held, I heard this voice right behind me. And it was a very low, very, very low, soft, quiet, calm, loving voice. Deep, very deep voice. And I'll never forget what those words were that came out of that came to me, that was spoken to me. I will always love you. James. I knew right away it was God. And I knew right away that he was pointing me to the book of James in the Bible to try and help me overcome what I've been struggling with over the last month at that point in time. This happened mid-January. Next morning I get up and I open up my Bible right here and I read the book of James. It's a very short book. It's in towards the very end of the Bible. I'm not going to read the whole book right now to you, but I'm going to highlight some certain things in this book that when I started reading this book, that next morning my jaw dropped. I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. It's like it was written exactly for me at that point in time to help me overcome what I have been struggling with. And I couldn't believe it. It made my jaw hit the floor when I started reading that. God told me to reference his book, his Bible, the book of James, at that point in time, because I was feeling hopeless, helpless, miserable. I was struggling bad, really bad, with my temper, my anger, my frustration, Not so much in other people, but as much as in myself. I was really frustrated that I wasn't doing anything, and that I wasn't advancing the football down the field. One of the highlights in this book was the purpose of trials. Tests our faith. It will produce patience. Knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. And then it goes on to talk about learning wisdom from these trials. And then it also goes on to love. Talked about loving one another. And do not become judges of each other. And that the poor will be rich in the kingdom of heaven. Heirs to the kingdom of heaven. And then more importantly, I'm going to read this part right here out of the book of James. If you really fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You do well. But if you show partiality, you commit sin and are convicted by the law as transgressors. For whoever shall keep the whole law and yet stumble in one point, he is guilty of all. For he who said, "Do not commit adultery," also said, "Do not murder." Sorry. We need to start loving one another. Love your neighbor as yourself. And then not only that, but it also talked about faith in works. Someone will say, "You have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that there is one God. You do well. Even the demons believe and tremble. But do you want to know, O foolish man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our father justified by works when he offered Isaac his son on the altar? Do you see that faith was working together with his works? And by works, faith was made perfect." So I needed to start actually towing the line, doing my part. That's part of the reason why I've been making these videos, is to try and actually serve and do works and spread the word of Christ himself. And my experiences with that. I can't explain what happened to me, but I know that it was spiritually, and I know that I was visited by God. Oh, man, it was awesome. It was unreal. It was inspiring. And in the book of James, it also says, controlling what we say. Controlling what we say. And I was struggling with that in my nightmare. My brethren, let not many of you become teachers, knowing that we shall receive a stricter judgment. I'm not trying to teach the Bible. I just want you to study the Bible. I don't want to be teaching the Bible. I know I'm not knowledgeable enough to. For we all stumble in many things. If anyone does not stumble in word, he is a perfect man, able to also bridle the whole body. Indeed, we put bits in horses' mouths that they may obey us, and we turn their whole body. Look also at ships. Although they are so large and are driven by fierce winds, they are turned by a very small rudder, wherever the pilot desires. Even so the tongue is a little member, and boasts great things. See how great a forest fire, a little fire... See how great a forest a little fire kindles, and the tongue is a fire, a world of iniquity. The tongue is so set among our members that it defiles the whole body, and sets on fire the course of nature, and it is set on fire by hell. For every kind of beast and bird, of reptile and creature of the sea is tamed and has been tamed by mankind. But no man can tame the tongue. It is an unruly evil, full of deadly poison. With it we bless our God and Father, and with it we curse men who have been made in this similitude of God. Out of the same mouth proceeds blessing and cursing. My brethren, these things ought not to be so. Does a spring send forth fresh water and bitter from the same opening? Can a fig tree, my brethren, bear olives, or a grapevine bear figs? Thus no spring yields both salt water and fresh. It literally told me to control my tongue as I was screaming at the top of my lungs in the nightmare that I just happened to have. Right before that. And it says right here in the book of James, control your tongue. You know, we can say certain things that we might think are loving, but the way we say it is not loving, and in fact it has the exact opposite effect of what we want. We can say I love you to somebody with peace and calm and passion. Or not passion, but love. And the meaning behind those three words is understood. But when we scream it at someone like we hate them, when we say, like, I love you in a very hatred tone, it has the exact opposite effect. It doesn't work. It just don't work. There's a couple other things in the book of James, but those are the few things that I really wanted to focus on. And what I was struggling with so much, and what I think the whole world is struggling with that right now. With all the negativity in the podcasts that I listen to. And that was a part of the reason why I've decided to start videoing. Because I'm tired of the negativity. I want to be a beacon of light and of hope. Plant seeds of hope for Christ. For my Lord and Savior. Just be positive. And I post videos, trucking, going down the road, singing, having a good time, because I want that to be exemplified and glorified. And I want to do it for Him. I want to serve God. And I think this is one of the unique ways I guess I can serve Him. This is a very long video. If you've made it this far, I'm so thankful that you've taken the time to listen and to actually sit down and pay attention. Especially to the reasons why I wanted to start this page, start this channel, and glorify God. He visited me, told me what I needed to do, and because I was struggling with this. It's me. I was just working on myself. And I know that there's so many other people that are struggling the exact same way I am. And I know that maybe we can walk through this together and learn together and treat each other like people instead of objects, and treating each other with love. It's so easy to spread the hate and discontent and the negativity. And I'm going to get so much backlash from people that just don't understand what I've been through. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can, especially with the reasons why I'm doing this, and really sticking my neck out there, exposing myself. I'm really being vulnerable with these videos and letting God knows who watch this, somewhere far, far away, or somebody I've known my entire life. But now you might understand why I'm a completely different man than the man I used to be in college and my rough and wilder days and rowdy ways. And maybe now maybe that'll explain why people think I'm going crazy. I think I'm going crazy. But like Waylon Jennings said, I've always been crazy, but it's kept me from going insane. And I love Waylon so much. He's my favorite country artist, and quite frankly, I hope I don't come across crazy to you. Although I think I am crazy myself. Talking to a camera in a room, alone, with God. He's listening. Are you? Thanks for taking the time. This was a really long video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it enlightened you on why I'll never be the same. Especially if you knew me from college or from my sinful, wicked ways of the past. And I just want you to know that I'll never be the same again. I've chosen to pick this up every day and carry it with me. Because at the end of the day, I'm serving somebody much, much bigger than myself. I'm serving my Lord and Savior. I voluntarily have chosen to become His servant. A noble, humble servant. And I don't want any glory, any recognition, any money. None of it. I want Him to have it. And I want you to have it too. Out of humility. I just want to be there to serve. That being said, thank you for watching this video. Reach out to me if you have questions, if you'd like to talk about it. I'm more than willing to talk about it. I don't know if it's a sin to talk about it or not, but I want to share my experiences, especially with God, after what's been happening to me, and that the man is real, and He does love us, and He does care about us. And I just want to portray that onto you, let you know that He cares and loves us. I will always love you. James. Please don't follow me. Follow who I follow. Follow the Lord. Thank you.